Hello everyone. Someone told me this and I want to check out if this is true. Here we have IE Sabre. And of course, very expensive paints. We have Sabre Ashcloud Paint. Let's add to cart. I would like to point out this paint is compatible with all Sabre variants. All Sabre variants. Of course, I will use store credits. Here we have Sabre. Let's apply Sabre Ashcloud livery. Quick items. And let's go into the game. So this paint is obviously bugged. What's the point of this video? Almost 10 years ago, Chris said we will be able to select our own colors. More than 8 years ago, there was this infamous hex code video, but nowadays CRT is selling us very expensive paints. Most are just color swaps, and they cannot even be bothered to quickly test their paints.
Are you serious?
This is unbelievable. For a project in year 13 with more than $730 million, CRT cannot even do the bare minimum every small indie dev can do. By the way, this is not exactly the first time that we got skins that were totally fucked. This is how it looks in space. Maybe this is Stealth Tier 0. Let's fire some missiles. And of course you cannot see much. By the way, you can see where the struts are, but not where the class is supposed to be. So far, CRT does a fantastic job in 2024. They made the game way worse. Terrible no fun master modes. Terrible movie UI, like in Iron Man, which is fine for a movie, but not for functional UI. Item banks that are not anymore immersive or better than local inventory, but a lot more slower, a lot more inconvenient. Green, murky universe, and of course the new Fisher-Price HUD and MFDs in 3.24.2. And CRT cannot even be bothered to quickly check their new paints. Some people say I'm too negative. I think I'm realistic. I'm actually still way too nice. And I think it's time to stop being nice guy. Chris, what you are doing is a disgrace. You have very little to show for year 13 and more than $730 million. You cannot even be bothered to do your bare minimum QA. And you are asking for way too much money for easy color swaps. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen.
But it's pretty cool. So yeah, well, so for what will be happening going forward is now we'll be able to roll out, different sort of, first of all the skins that we've already promised, but probably some new ones, and at some point we'll allow tools for people to be able to sort of do their own paint job. And we've got a fairly efficient way of storing the data, so it's not going to be a huge amount. I think the paint is it a 512?
What, for the
paint job? Yeah, I can't remember what the texture size is.
Well, it depends on what decal you're putting on, but most of the decals themselves are they're like 512.
Well, I'm not talking about the decal, I'm talking about the paint.
The whole paint? I think it's a 1024, isn't it? I don't know. Yeah, 1024.
All right.
So essentially the process kind of begins with we want to get these pre-configured schemes done. So you could, for example, go off and go, oh, you know what, I want a NASA themed kind of skin, or I want, a District 9 themed skin, or I want a pink Hello Kitty themed skin. And then essentially, we as artists create, well, basically the material files. They're tiny in memory. They're so small that we can have like hundreds of them if we want to, because they're all calling the same textures. That's what's done under the hood, okay? Once those material files are created and obviously named accordingly and sanity checked that the emblem is called emblem and the submaterial ID is called submaterial ID 1, 2, and 3, they have to be the same names. That's then handed to tech design to then kind of set that up with the loadout that they're putting together for that shit. Further forward, we want these kind of paint configurations to become hex codes. So if you're in like a guild of 20 players, and you know the clan leader said, all right, this is our paint scheme. There's going to be no like guessing work. Like you get the hex code, you put it in there, and it automatically will say, oh, you know what, you know, we've got matte black against yellow against pink, something crazy, and at every ship in your fleet, you can put that hex code on and it will automatically go into that color configuration. So there's a lot of kind of cool things. And, you know, as artists, we do this stuff all day, every day. And we were just like, you know, well, why wouldn't we give the end user this functionality? So that's the overall plan. There is a lot of kind of very things you have to be careful with when you're authoring the shaders for this stuff. So it can accommodate these options. But we're on top of that. And that's kind of, yeah, it's good.
Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.